I really study a lot of like what young people are doing. And I don't know if you guys are watching sort of the anti-work movement or the FIRE movement, which is financial independence, retire early. A lot of young people now are looking at financial markets, whether it's Robinhood or Coinbase or Prize Picks, whatever market it is, young men especially. And they're saying, I need to control my destiny. This capitalism is not working for me. I need to own equities. I need to make trades, and I need to retire early and have experiences because the capitalist system is broken to some extent. And then there's another group of people who are just anti-work. And there was this term back in the day called NEET, not employed, not being educated, and not in training. Basically, the people who are called the unproductives.
Welcome to Personal Finance Cat, where I share my personal take on personal finance. That clip you just heard from the All In podcast was where I heard about the term NEET for the first time. I sort of knew that it's happening because I witnessed people around me, including some very close friends and relatives, fall into that characterization. Not in education, employment, or training. They would live with their parents and still be provided for by their parents financially. They cannot or choose not to hold a job, and also have little to no social life. This trend is on the rise in many parts of the world, and the reasons behind it are complex and often quite troubling. So let's talk about the sad truth behind the NEET generation and explore some of the causes fueling this global issue. First, let's clarify what we mean by NEET. Again, NEET stands for not in education, employment, or training, referring to young people, usually aged 15 to 34, who aren't pursuing education, aren't working, and aren't in any training programs to prepare them for future employment. They're essentially disengaged from formal structures of society that typically lead to a career or stable life path. The implications are huge. When a large portion of a generation isn't actively contributing to the economy or developing skills, it has a ripple effect, impacting everything from economic growth to social stability. Plus, it affects individuals themselves, financially, emotionally, and psychologically. Being NEET can often lead to a cycle of isolation, mental health struggles, and further disengagement from society. So, what's causing this rise in the NEET population? It's a complex web of factors, both economic and social. Let's start with the economic side of things. In recent decades, we've seen a lot of changes in the job market. In many developed countries, jobs in manufacturing and other industries that typically employed young people without college degrees have disappeared. Technology has automated a lot of those roles, and globalization has shifted many jobs overseas, where labor is cheaper. As a result, young people, especially those without higher education, are finding fewer and fewer opportunities. As a matter of fact, I've recently read J.D. Vance's book, Hillbilly Elegy, which outlined exactly this issue that's happening to the white working class communities in the Appalachian region. This region spans areas of Kentucky, West Virginia, Ohio, and other parts of the Rust Belt. This group is largely rural, with deep ties to coal mining, manufacturing, and other industries that once formed the backbone of their economy, but have since declined, leaving a significant impact on their livelihoods and prospects. And let's not forget about the education system itself. Many people who graduate with degrees are still struggling to find work in their field. The cost of education has skyrocketed, and yet the skills people are graduating with haven't always evolved to keep up with the job market's demand. So we're seeing a generation burdened with debt, but with limited prospects for stable employment. Now, let's look at some social and cultural factors. One of the biggest issues is that society has changed in terms of what's expected of young people and what young people expect from life. Social media and the internet, while beneficial in many ways, have also fostered an era of comparison and high expectations. Young people see others who appear to be, quote, living the dream, traveling and succeeding in unconventional careers, which can create a sense of inadequacy or pressure to find a perfect path. This pressure can be paralyzing, leading some people to avoid the job search entirely if they can't find a job that they believe is, quote, good enough. There's also a generational shift in the approach to work. Many in this generation value flexibility and meaningful work over the traditional 9 to 5. Yet the economy often doesn't support these values. Young people who reject unfulfilling or low-paying jobs can end up in limbo without a clear direction forward. This analysis paralysis is becoming more common as career paths become more complex and varied. Another essential piece of the NEET puzzle is mental health. Studies have shown that depression, anxiety, and other mental health issues are on the rise, particularly among younger generations. These issues can create a significant barrier to education, employment, and training. For example, someone with severe social anxiety might find it extremely difficult to succeed in a traditional job or educational setting, so they withdraw instead. Mental health struggles can often become a vicious cycle. Being NEET can worsen mental health issues due to isolation and lack of purpose, while those mental health challenges make it harder to escape the NEET cycle. We also need to talk about economic inequality and the lack of adequate support systems for young people. In many countries, economic disparities are widening, and the cost of living is outpacing wage growth. For example, it simply isn't feasible to pursue unpaid internships or low-wage jobs, particularly if they have no family support or need to help financially at home. On top of this, the social safety nets that used to help people find their way back to education or employment have weakened in many regions. Programs that could support people in retraining or learning new skills are often underfunded or non-existent. This lack of support leaves many young people stranded without the means to re-enter the workforce or pursue further education. So, what can be done about the NEET crisis? While it's a challenging issue, there are potential solutions. First, governments and private sectors could expand access to affordable or free education and vocational training to provide young people with practical, marketable skills. It has been great seeing some of the top educational institutions providing free courses online, such as Harvard, MIT, and Stanford. A big shout out to Michael Saylor for his Saylor Academy, a nonprofit initiative offering free, self-paced online courses designed to make high-quality education accessible to everyone, everywhere. Founded by entrepreneur and Bitcoin advocate Michael J. Saylor, Saylor Academy provides college-level courses across various subjects, from business and computer science to history and economics. Second, it's also essential to address mental health directly. More mental health support in schools, affordable therapy, and community-based programs could make a difference. Third, we also need to rethink how we approach entry-level work. Companies could focus on creating meaningful entry-level positions that provide on-the-job training and growth opportunities, rather than just requiring advanced degrees or extensive experience for every role. Fourth, society too can shift to support needs by reducing the stigma around unconventional life paths and supporting young people in exploring different paths without the pressure of traditional success benchmarks. Last but not least, let's explore another perspective that's often overlooked in discussions about the NEET generation: the role of religion, or more broadly, spirituality and community values. Religion can play a valuable role in supporting the NEET generation by providing community, purpose, and structure. Many young people feel isolated or lack direction, and faith-based communities offer social support, mentorship, and a sense of belonging. Religion also emphasizes accountability, resilience, and a purpose beyond personal gain, which can help young people overcome mental health challenges and find motivation. A revival of religious or community-based values could offer NEET individuals the grounding, encouragement, and practical guidance needed to engage more actively in education, employment, or training. All right, to wrap up, the NEET generation isn't just a statistic. It's a reflection of broader issues in our economy, culture, and support systems. Addressing the causes of the NEET phenomenon will require effort from all of us, from government bodies and companies to individuals who support young people in their lives. Thank you for listening to this episode of Personal Finance Cat. I hope it's given you some insight into the challenges and realities that young people face today. If you found this episode valuable, please share it, subscribe, and join me next time.